Because you sound like someone who's gone from opportunities. If they presented themselves, you've gone yes.
Yes. Well, I think in retrospect, we can always look back and say what we could have done different. Opportunity kind of presents itself in a small window. And, when you're 18, you think that window is going to be there forever. And, the 48-year-old, like, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that. Not saying that being a bad thing.
No.
Just looking at, like you're saying,
A
these
reflection.
kids now, man, they have so many opportunities that were unheard of in our time.
Indeed.
And it should, because it's called evolution for a reason, isn't it?
Edie, imagining yourself as a young lady, which obviously isn't going to be hard for you because presumably you're only 25 as we speak now.
True.
So speak to speak to the 25-year-old you. As a 25-year-old, what's important, do you think?
Well, as a 25-year-old, I was actually just getting involved and working in the high-tech world, semiconductors, which was just, starting up. It hadn't gotten as big as it did, but it was a whole new world to me because I grew up on a farm in a very small community.
Wow.
And it was a very tight-knit community. We had lifelong friends, and that was also pretty much my social life was pretty much school and church, and it involved that pretty relatively small community. So it wasn't until after I got a little bit older, my parents' families all lived in California. This was in Oregon, and so we started coming down to the city, San Francisco, Bay Area, and the world kind of opened up for me, and I saw different kinds of people. I mean, small communities like that, especially in a rural community, is pretty homogenous. And in my case, it was there were many American Japanese people, because that's where they had ended up after they were pulled all away from the coast and went to wherever they could go. And many people were farmers, so this was a farming area, so there were many Japanese Americans there. So that was kind of interesting. I mean, I really didn't realize the difference, until after I got older and left. But it's a unique situation because that doesn't happen all the time. I mean, when I go to the city, I was always marveling at the fact that there's a Japanese community in a certain geographical area in the city.
I wanted to ask, so presumably your parents were the Japanese Americans that were interned.
Yes.
So that's a gut-wrenching, traumatizing, fuck off moment to be, I'm sorry if you have faith, but my God, how much does that shape who you are?
It didn't really, because my dad joined the Army. One of the ones to, prove that the Japanese people were reliable or, loyal or whatever.
Yeah.
But he joined the Army, and my mom initially went to the camp in Poston, Arizona from Watsonville, California. She went with her parents there, because her brothers were older. She was the middle child, but she was the only girl. So the girl always goes with the parents to take care of them.
Right.
So she went there with them, but my parents ended up getting married. So my mom then moved to San Antonio, Texas, and she was a housekeeper for my dad's colonel. And so they didn't really live there in the camp, but they were there enough by visiting and whatnot to see how the parents were. But, I say I didn't live with it because I was, born after when my parents were in San Antonio. And so I didn't really experience any of that. And the Japanese people did not talk about it.
No.
Because after they were all released, it's only been, well, here in California, at least in our area, it's only been in the last 10, 15 years or so that I've really heard much about it.